Unconscious, woman was molested by rescuer working in ambulance, Florida cops say. The incident under investigation occurred in 2021 and came to light when video recorded on a Flagler County ambulance was discovered by the Daytona Beach Police Department, officials said. A former emergency medical services staffer is accused of molesting one of his patients while she was unconscious in his ambulance, according to investigators in North Florida. The incident happened in 2021 and came to light 3 years later when video was discovered by the Daytona Beach Police Department, officials said. A man in the video was identified as Daytona Beach resident James Mulady, 37, who was working at the time for Flagler County Fire Rescue, according to the Flagler County Sheriff's Office. He is no longer with the department, officials said. DBPD advised while investigating Mulady on cases in their jurisdiction, a video was discovered of Mulady molesting an unconscious female in Flagler County while on duty and in uniform while performing his official duties, the sheriff's office said. An investigation revealed an ambulance was called to the victim's home on October 17, 2021, so she could be taken to a hospital in Palm Coast. Details of why she needed hospitalization were not released. The video explicitly showed the suspect violating the victim while she was clearly unconscious, officials said. The woman, who no longer lives in the county, met with detectives and indicated she was completely unaware of being attacked, officials said. Mulady was arrested September 11 and charged with 1 count of sexual battery on a helpless person and 1 count of video voyeurism on a victim 19 years old or older. He is being held without bond, officials said. It is likely there are other victims of his disgusting behavior, Flagler County Sheriff Rick Stoley said in the release. Anyone who suspects they may have been a victim of Mulady is asked to call the FCSO Communications Center's non-emergency line at 386-313-4911 or email tips@flaglersheriff.com. The suspect was part of a team of paramedics and emergency medical technicians who are also certified firefighters, the county says. Flagler County is about a 70-mile drive south from Jacksonville. Detectives reviewed the video, which explicitly showed the suspect violating the victim while she was clearly unconscious. Deputies said the victim was completely unaware of being attacked by the fire rescue employee named James Mulady. An arrest warrant was obtained for Mulady, 37, and he was arrested on Wednesday for sexual battery on a helpless person and video voyeurism on a victim 19 years old or older. He was booked into the Volusia County Jail, according to court records. Detectives said he confessed to his crimes and retired from Flagler County Fire Rescue earlier this year. It's unfathomable to me what this predator did to an unconscious victim while on duty while being entrusted to provide proper emergency medical care but instead sexually assault her, said Sheriff Rick Stoley in the Post.
First at 10, West 2 uncovering disturbing new details tonight.
A former paramedic with Flagler County Fire and Rescue is accused of sexually assaulting an unconscious woman in the back of an ambulance while on duty.
West 2's Gail Pascal Brown explains how he got caught.
Major case units from the Daytona Beach Police Department and the Flagler County Sheriff's Office were involved in this investigation. A former paramedic is accused of sexual battery on a patient in an ambulance. 37-year-old James Mulady of Daytona Beach was arrested Wednesday and taken to the Volusia County Jail. He's charged with sexual battery and video voyeurism on a victim 19 years old or older. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Stoley says the suspect took advantage of a patient in need.
He took advantage of this victim who was unconscious in the back of an ambulance on the way to the hospital. I mean, to me, there is nothing more disgusting what this pervert did.
Daytona Beach major crimes detectives had been investigating Mulady on cases in their jurisdiction when they say they came across a video of him. They say a video was discovered of Mulady molesting an unconscious female in Flagler County while on duty and in uniform while performing his official duties. The patient was being transported to a hospital in Palm Coast. The arrest report says the video clips depicted him setting up and moving the camera throughout the incident and clearly depicted his face. Investigators say detectives met with the victim who was completely unaware of being attacked by Mulady. This alleged incident happened in October of 2021.
We believe that there are probably many other victims. And if people think that they are a victim of this paramedic, they need to call us.
Well, that's easier said than done, because if you're unconscious in the back of an ambulance and you're being assaulted in any way. It would be hard for you to remember since you're unconscious. The sheriff needs to roll all those tapes to see exactly what went on while this guy was employed with the department.
Investigators interviewed James Mulady, whom they say confessed to the allegations and told them that he retired from Flagler County Fire Rescue earlier this year. He is in jail under no bond. I'm Gail Pascal Brown in Volusia County for West 2 News.
Now here's some more information from another news source.
Former Flagler Fire and Rescue employee is accused of molesting an unconscious woman while on duty. Daytona Beach Police contacted the Flagler County Sheriff's Office earlier this month regarding the investigation. During the investigation, a video appeared to show the suspect molesting an unconscious woman in an ambulance in Flagler County in October of 2021. Detectives then met with the victim, who was unaware of being attacked by the suspect. He is charged with sexual battery on a helpless person and video voyeurism. He's being held in the Volusia County Jail without bond.
It has been one of our top stories on News4Jax.com. A former Flagler County paramedic caught on video molesting an unconscious patient on the way to the hospital. Now we're hearing from the Flagler County Sheriff.
But once in a while, you get a rotten apple. And this is a rotten apple that needs to be buried under the jail and the keys thrown away.
So Eric Abney is joining us now. Eric, this is just a really horrible story.
Yeah, you're right. Right now, Flagler County investigators only have 2 cell phone video clips to go on, but sheriffs in an interview earlier today that based on specific details of what his investigators saw when they reviewed those videos, they don't think that this was the first time James Mulady had abused a patient. The Flagler County Sheriff's Office wants you to take a very good look at 37-year-old James Mulady. He's a former Flagler County paramedic who is now in custody, accused of video voyeurism and sexually abusing a patient. The video recorded encounter happened back in October of 2021. This is what Mulady looked like in 2022 while still a Flagler County paramedic.
It did not appear to us this would be his first attempt to do this.
Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley says there are specific details in the videos that lead him and his detectives to believe there are more victims.
It's just very unlikely that, this individual did one attack and then changed their mind, said, oh, this wasn't as gratifying as I thought it would be, and I'm not going to do this anymore.
Daytona Beach police were the first to discover the videos while investigating Mulady as a suspect in a criminal sex case. When police searched his cell phone, they said they discovered 2 videos of Mulady sexually abusing an unconscious woman inside an ambulance while she was being driven to the hospital. According to investigators, Mulady was wearing a Flagler County Fire and Rescue uniform. After notifying the Flagler County Sheriff's Office about the videos, Flagler County detectives launched an investigation that led them to the patient who was sexually abused and reasons why she was unconscious during her trip to the hospital. The woman never knew she had been sexually abused until after she was notified by deputies about the videos.
There's plenty of indicators that there are more victims, and what he was doing is so disgusting. And in our case, a helpless, unconscious individual that paramedics were called for, and you expect them to provide emergency medical care while they're being transported to the hospital. And instead, he took advantage of that.
The Flagler County Sheriff's Office says if anyone believes they may have been a victim of Mulady, they are encouraged to call the Flagler County Sheriff's non-emergency line at 386-313-4911 or email tips@flaglersheriff.com. Now, I did reach out to Flagler County Fire and Rescue to see what policies they have in place to prevent sex crimes or even allegations of sex crimes while patients are being transported to the hospital, but I have yet to hear back from their spokesperson. Meanwhile, Mulady remains in jail without bond in the Flagler County and Daytona Beach on those Flagler County charges and is still at the center of an active crime investigation into Daytona and then also that investigation into Daytona Beach. So there's a lot going on with this case.
I mean, Eric, is there anything that can be done to minimize your chances of this type of crime happening to an unconscious person?
There is. I was told that the one thing you can do if you have a loved one or a friend that is about to be transported to the hospital, you can always ask the paramedics if it is okay for you to ride along in that ambulance. That way you can keep an eye on everything that's going on. Now, in many cases, they will allow you to do that. In some cases, they may not, depending upon the severity of the circumstances. Now, if that is the case, then you can also, you can always just ride behind the ambulance in your car, keep a close distance. But the unfortunate thing is you can't see what's happening inside, and you can't go through red lights, so you're at a disadvantage. One other point I want to make. One firefighter I spoke with, a JFRD firefighter I spoke with off camera, he says that here in Jacksonville, whenever he encounters situations like that where there's an unconscious female, he will ask to have like a female firefighter or paramedic just to join them as they're on their way to the hospital. That way, it just eliminates any kind of accusations or allegations that some improprieties had happened en route to the hospital.
I mean, it's great advice on something that you would never think that could happen, but clearly we know how evil people can be.
And even the sheriff said this is the first time in his long career of law enforcement that he had ever even heard of anything like this before.
Eric, thank you.
That was so disturbing. And I would really like to think that maybe those were only the 2 incidents that happened with him. But the sheriff said he suspects this guy did this multiple times before. This is why the sheriff is really encouraging people, if they think they were assaulted in any way by this guy, to come forward. Because a lot of times, sometimes you're unconscious, but you're semi-conscious, you're not fully knocked out, and you can recall what's going on. Although you can't move or speak or blink or anything, you have recall. So the sheriff is encouraging folks, if you think you were a victim, to come forward. That's very scary, isn't it? And I'm wondering how many people have done that across America. How many paramedics or EMT guys have done this? And there are many more victims out there. It's scary. Oh my goodness, I thought I heard it all. Anyway, guys, I'm over and out. Drop your comments in the comment section. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.